Welcome to the podcast.
What's going on, Adam? How you doing, man?
Dude, this is like the full crew. First 4-timer that I've ever had. Actually, no, I've done no other. This is like a lot of people.
Yeah. We wanted to bring the whole team in, so yeah.
Lean a little bit more on the mic, bro. Listen, you're not. This isn't cool. You're not AG, or you're not Zach from Saved by the Bell, all right? Relax over there. So I know who you guys are, but I want to go around the table and tell everyone who you are. Starting over here, who do we got?
I'm Amy with the
Talking
Galante
to the
Group. Amy Smith, Galante Group. Closer. There you go.
Thank you.
Joe Galante with the Galante Group and powered by Team Ticor. So there's a larger entity, but yeah, we've got the Galante Group that rides under Team Ticor.
Well, after that, I'm Vince Rodriguez, Galante Group.
I do something in real estate.
Yeah, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah,
but
figuring it out.
I mean, they're keeping me around, so I think we're all right.
Yeah. So Joe, you are the leader of this group. So obviously, I know we've been friends since high school. It's actually pretty crazy, don't you think? Like me, you, and Taylor all went to high school together, and it's like we're all in real estate and all decent producers.
I wish I brought one of your cross-country photos where you're about $110, maybe 95 pounds.
Dude, I was looking fresh back then.
You were cut up. You look anorexic as hell, though.
I did throw up at night, so yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. But no, you're right. Taylor, myself, and you, we all went to King High School, and that was, known you quite a long time.
Yeah.
But 10, 15 years now.
Yeah, Joe actually always had my back. You guys don't know this story, but one time I was at Joe's house for a house party, and this guy, I'm not going to name his name, tried to fight me. And Joe came in and like shut it down. He's like, "This ain't happening. This ain't happening. Get the heck out of my house."
That's Joe found an excuse to fight.
He shut it down, bro. And I was like, "Thanks, bro. See ya."
Yeah, it was crazy times back then.
It was. So, obviously, you're the leader of this show. Like, what made you get into title? Because I would bet 90% of people in real estate don't even know what title or what their title reps do, and or 99% of people only know what title is because they see the $1,000 fee when they close. So like, what made you going from law school and wanting to be a lawyer your whole life to being like, I'm going to get into title?
Yeah. So I mean, if you asked me 10, 15 years ago, hey, do you see yourself working at a title company? I'd be like every other person that doesn't know what title insurance was. And I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
No way. Yep. So yeah, my initial vision through college and all that good stuff was to be a criminal defense attorney. So I interned with one of my uncles who's a defense attorney, and I went that route, graduated with a poli-sci major at UCR, and I just thought that was my calling. I was always interested in arguing, thinking critically, and kind of doing that sort of thing, troubleshooting, problem solving. So I thought the legal background going that way would definitely suit me well. It was a passion at that time. So when I got through law school, I got out of all that good stuff, and I just started interning, and I'm like, you know what, this really isn't the career I want to go to. Maybe I focused on criminal defense, which turns out to be kind of a nasty environment, and it just wasn't for me. I couldn't see myself defending those types of people. Not to say that anybody shouldn't receive defense, but it just didn't suit me well. It didn't sit well. So I had a good heart-to-heart with myself. I graduated, all that good stuff. I'm like, dude, what am I going to do now? I'm like, I've got nothing to do. I've got all this college under me, and it was good experience, mainly partying with the fraternities. That was the experience in college with Vinny. So that was all good. And then so I had a heart-to-heart with myself, and Anthony Andre, who's actually in the business, called me up one day, and I was working at a loss mitigation company. So for you real estate people, loss mitigation meant like a short sale outfit. So it was out of Orange County, and we were, doing all kinds of modifications and loss mitigation cases for people losing their house back in the heyday. And Anthony called me, and he's like, "Hey, Joe, I think you do well in title." He talked to my parents at church one time. He's like, "Hey, what's Joe doing nowadays?" So I met with Anthony at Panera Bread over at the Plaza, and he's like, "Hey, I think you can do this, but I need you to meet with a couple of the leaders in command here at Ticor and see if you pass a smell test." So I met with a couple of county managers one day after work on a Friday afternoon. They explained kind of the gist of the business, and I said, "You know what? I think I can do this." I had no idea what the business was at that time. I didn't know what was going to call of me, what kind of expertise I needed, because when you get in this business, you don't even know what you're doing. Mainly, and when
all of us.
Yeah,
sure.
When I
all of us.
Yeah.
When I started out, I mean, literally, I went because I was part of. I covered the Corona territory when I first got in, and they literally sent me to the board of realtors over there, Tigar, and they gave me Anthony told me, go get an office roster, and that's your call list. I'm like, okay, well, what's a call list? Yep. So I had to do that, and then I would go to these offices. I remember going to Century 21 over there in Corona, and they're like, oh, this is a closed office. I'm like, hold it, what do you mean? Ignorance is bliss, honestly, when you first get into title. And I was like, what do you mean it's closed? The door's open. I walked right through. I mean, you guys aren't closed. It says you guys are open. And so the front person actually laughed, and I'm like, and that's kind of where it started. And it was really tough to get into, but looking back in hindsight, I think it was the best move for myself, my family, and I was able to pick up a great partner in Amy, and now Vinny, nurturing him into the business. So it's been a good run. That's kind of how I got into the business in the short form. So.
It's crazy to think, like you said, like when people get into this industry, it doesn't matter if it's a title or loans or agent. Like there's like, oh, I'm just gonna go to this office, and like people don't realize like I have a closed office. Like you're not, if someone shows up and they're not invited, I will never do a deal with that person ever.
Right. Because
it's like, and so when you're new and you're just trying really hard and you're like, and someone's like, hey, like when I got into real estate, it was like, yeah, go call people. And you're like, what I can call them about? And then you're like, oh, go buy offices. And you're like, and then you show up and they're like, no, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, and I got to do that tomorrow. And then do it another day.
And then it starts messing with your head too, because how many no's can you take, before you start getting a maybe?
Maybe.
And then you get a maybe from an agent that maybe doesn't have any active listings.
Is that a hard part for you guys in title? It's like you try so hard and then you get that maybe from an agent that does like 2 deals and like they're both buyers and you're like, oh God, I don't even want to talk to this person. As awful as that sounds, it's true.
100%. But every agent's got some value, some larger than others, but you kind of want to go after all of them. You really do. I mean, I know Vince goes after all of them. Amy goes after all of them. I do. It's just part of the game. It's a lot of numbers, really.
A lot of numbers. You wear them down.
But yeah, I mean, rejection is one of the biggest things. I mean, being a title rep is one of the most humbling experiences ever. When I got into title, I thought I was like cream of the crop. I thought I was the shit. I thought, no one's knocking me off my pedestal. But you go in there and you go talk to an agent that's done like 2 deals in their entire career.
Yeah.
And they shoot you down, and then you go run their numbers, and you're like, what was that guy like dogging me so bad?
Yeah.
I mean, I made no money when I first began. I probably still made more money than that realtor at that time. So I was like, wow. And then you start, doing a check and balance, and you start getting more strategic about your business. So then, as soon as that starts, the rest is history.
I feel like you attract like the clientele after a while, after being in the business, and people want to work with you and you create friendships.
Do you guys feel like you guys are at a point now where you're just like, it's like more brand, where you're like building the brand of the company?
Absolutely.
And it's all of a sudden now becoming more like inbounding than outbounding?
Brand and credit, yeah. With the brand and with the agents you work with comes credibility. So when you tell, early on, agents would say, well, who do you work with? I don't know you from Adam. I've worked with this person for 100 years. Who are you? And, you have to overcome those things. But as you're persistent, what I've noticed in the business is most of the agents that are doing all the business respect hustlers. They respect a salesperson because they understand the daily grind. So whereas there's 5 or 6 title companies out here, there's about 7,000, 8,000 realtors that you guys are competing with.
Yeah.
So a top agent that has to compete with 7,000 other agents, discount brokers and all the rest, and they have to go out and prospect and get thousands of no's and send out thousands of marketing pieces and, build their brand. It gets convoluted and kind of crazy, but, once you dial that down,
I think if you're humble in your approach too, it's definitely like a levels a playing field, so to speak. What I mean by that is, I'll get all pumped up. Let's use you for example. I'll get all pumped up to call you, and you're just like, who the hell is this guy, right?
I won't even pick up the phone.
Yeah, but anyways, I keep going. I get you, right? And then I always notice, like, if I just kind of throw something out there, like an olive branch right away, like, hey man, I'm just here doing my job, just like you, man. I'm on the phones hustling. How are you doing?
That's why I like the DMs. Honestly, I would say like the best way to get me now is DMs on Instagram. Because like I won't pick up my phone if I don't know the number.
Yeah.
And so like DMs on the Instagram, like ding, all right, someone's sending me a message. What do they want? And then if it's someone like that's like a good message, then I'll like send them like a polite no.
Oh yeah. And the business for us title reps, I mean, this goes for any title rep that's in any company, the dynamic has changed so much. When I first got into the business, when Amy first got into the business, emails would suffice, because at that point they weren't getting hit up by 8 different title companies. They weren't getting hit up by 25 different escrows, home warranty,
Dude,
all the rest.
Emails are crazy
Inspectors,
now.
appraisers, everybody that wants to offer something. So I feel like emails are probably the worst way to try to prospect.
We get so many of them.
You get so many of them, and then
especially when that listing goes live.
Yeah,
dude, it's like the next day I'm like then I'm getting text messages and then this and then that. I'm just like delete.
Yeah, and it gets crazy. So I mean, for any title rep out there, and also for us, I mean, what we do on a daily basis is just find a creative way to get out there. I mean, be different, and like Vince said, you know, offer something of value. Don't just be a traditional title person that just says
drops off pins.
Hey,
actually, I do need a calendar, so if you listen to me, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I mean, you got to be creative and, you know, think about new ways of doing your business. I mean, even for you realtors, you guys got to recreate the wheel all the time.
Yeah, I know, it gets daunting every once in a while, especially that's what people don't understand. It's like you try so hard, like, you know, obviously you guys know video is my thing, so it's like you spend all this time making a video. And you guys, great job on your last videos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
But anyone who's watching this, go check them out. You guys did a great job. But it's like, then you do this, and then it's like, no one watches it. And you're like, dang, like I spent that took me 17 takes to get that video in.
Yeah, but before you know it, people will start watching, you know, when they gravitate towards what you're offering out there and what you're saying, you know.
For sure.
It humanizes you too. I mean, it puts a face to a name. It puts a voice to your emails, and they know that there's a person behind that. And I think that's why video is so powerful and why we do it.
100%. So, lady.
What?
Joe went to law school and then realized he hates law. So then he got in a title. So what's your story?
My story's not quite as fabulous, but I got out of the military and I was going to school.
First off, what made you go in the military?
Desert Storm. I just remember watching it on the news and seeing it when I was in school, and decided I was going to do that one day. And
what did you do in the military?
F-14s, aviation, Navy. Yeah. Little plug. My son's at boot camp right now. 4 weeks in. Yeah.
Nice.
How's he liking it?
He loves it. First letter, like.
Of course he says that.
Well, first letter, like, it was awful. I hated it. What did he do? Right? Like, I almost cried. Second letter was like, this shit's easy. It's not that bad. The food doesn't suck.
Yeah.
He's all, the uniforms are dope. Like, I was like, okay, the tone changed. Like, it was good. And then my brother, half brother yesterday, he graduated and he's on his way to Bud SEAL training. So I was like, maybe it's something in the DNA.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Awesome. I'll tell you what, thank you so much for what you've done. Like, I literally, if there was a draft and I had to go, I'd run to Canada. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
Like, there's no way I could go.
I have never had
fight.
so much fun in my entire life. Like, you get to see the world from a different perspective and party your ass off at 18.
I guess you're in the Navy. I guess you weren't like in the Army where you're like on the front line and like in the Middle East and you're like living in cots.
So when I got out of the Navy, I went to school, got my degrees, and I was gonna go back OCS Army. And they deploy for like a year at a time, 18 months. And I'm like, man, I've had so much freedom that I don't think you could like send me overseas for that long again.
Yeah, I think it would be hard. I think guys like Joe and me and me. It's like you're gonna tell me what to do? What? Like, who are you?
Well, Joe knows. I'm always just like, all right, like, what's the play? Like, what are we doing? Like, I'm just really easy.
You
like,
fall in line. I like your style.
It's all good.
Do you want to be a real estate agent?
You know, I started like, so my mom was in real estate. It's kind of how I kind of fell into it. And then that was the path I was going to go, and then went down the loan path, and then the market crashed. So like Joe, I went to work for a loss mitigation company, which was awful. And I did that for quite some time, paid the bills, single mom. So it was like, you do what you got to do. Shittiest job in the world, by the way.
Yeah, loss mitigation's tough.
It's dirty.
Because, I mean, you give all these promises to people, and then you have somebody else that's, you know, watching the files and, you know. Yeah. But a lot of it back then, the loss mitigation business was purely that, a business. It was a moneymaker. A lot of these people never got what they thought. I was dealing all over the country, and I remember one time I was dealing with this flight attendant. He met me in Hermosa Beach at some hotel, and I felt so bad for this guy because I'm like, this guy's not going to get what he thinks he's going to get, and I have to pitch this to him. And that's when I realized that I can't do loss mitigation anymore. That's crazy. And then coincidentally, I met with Anthony probably a week later. I'm like, dude, I got to get out of this because I'm giving people false hope. Yeah. And I wasn't about that. So,
and that's the worst part about this industry that people don't get. It's the credit repair. 99% of credit repairs, or the 99% of people like, oh, I'm going to help you, or the hero program that screwed people over. And it's sad because it's like, and if we go into a market shift, we're going to see those people get taken advantage of again. And that's what people don't understand. It's just like, these people come in, take advantage of you, and then they're gone. They make their money and they dip.
Oh, yeah.
It's awful. So you get in the title.
Yeah, love title. I'll die in title.
Yeah.
Title's awesome. I'll
You
die
better
here.
die in title.
I'll die here at Tycor. Joe and I used to be competitors. I hated Joe because he was always very aggressive.
Aggressive? No.
I was like, this fucking Joe Galante. So I would steal a client and he would steal him back. And so it went back and forth for a little while.
Yeah.
It went for tit for tat.
Yeah, and then one of our clients that she had stolen, and then I stole back. She's like, "You guys just need to meet for lunch." So we met, I think, at a sushi place in Menifee, right? The first time.
She texted me. She was like, it was like
a couple of good.
Yeah,
it's
like
a blind
kind of
date.
set up.
It was a blind date. Yeah.
Her text was fishy, and I'm like, "What are you up to?" She goes, "Just come with an open mind."
Yeah.
That's a blind date.
No,
Yeah.
It was cool. And
It was good.
I think it worked
Yeah.
out
Match
for the
made in
best.
title heaven.
Yeah.
Literally.
I mean, the dynamic that Amy and I have, like, sometimes I'm the A personality a-hole. I deal with a certain
All the time.
All the time.
but like on a nice level. Like,
But I am too, so that's cool.
It works out really well.
Yeah.
And Amy, she has a different personality, so like it's a really good dynamic that we
Like
have.
I always tell people, you want. Sometimes it's hard for people like me and Joe, but it's like when things hit the fan, you're gonna want the guy that's gonna tear someone's face off.
That's true.
Like when the deal goes sideways, you're not gonna want the nice person. You're gonna want the person that's gonna pick up the phone and go, "Listen here, mother effer.
Yep.
Like this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna give up AMD. You're gonna do this and you're gonna do that and you're gonna like it. Or we're canceling and you're gonna pound sand."
Yep.
And that's what people don't understand. When it goes wrong, you're gonna want the person that you're like, dude, I don't want that guy calling me when things go wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not as harsh as you, I'll be honest.
Extremely harsh.
But we focus on solution making,
That's
so,
what we get paid to do. We solve problems
Yeah.
for a living.
We
That's
get
what
the-
title is.
Yeah, we get the nastiest files, and
I
you
feel
gotta
bad
work
for
through
you
it.
guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Title's
tough.
worked. I always say I could never do title because I hate real estate agents. So
We love real estate agents.
I love real estate agents.
yeah. So
All
we
of
got law school. I would say dropout, but you did graduate. Then we got, war hero,
Captain America.
Captain America.
Yeah, right.
Literally, like, probably is tougher than all three of us combined. And then we have you.
Yeah. So I guess my story kind of starts at UCR when Joe and I were
There you go.
really
Good
good
job.
friends, and
Work on
You know,
those core muscles. Keep
spent-
you up with it. It's gonna be so sore.
Joe and I spent a lot of time together in college, and then after college remained really good friends. And I think at one point we even lived in the same building.
Yeah.
And immediately after college, I kind of fell into property management, was renting apartments out, and doing pretty well. Kind of not even knowing it, learning sales, and sharpening my skills. And you're dealing with where people live, and a lot of times it's it's a very personal situation. So I dealt with that sales process and learned my craft there. Had an opportunity when Joe got into title, I got into food sales. So I started with US Foods, eventually took a position with Cisco Foods, and for about 10 years, killed it out there, did very well. But Joe and I would meet up, probably once a month or so, and, at a local watering hole and kind of share war stories. And it was, this customer, this prospect, this, and our stories were so aligned. It was just a different product at the end of the day. So
Sales are sales.
Yep. And for, I don't know, about 6 years or so, Joe was like, you got to come to title. Oh, no, man, it's cushy where I'm at. I like what I do. I love what I do. And then, I had
to the dark side.
Yeah, I had my daughter, and I realized, I was working my ass off, and I was making a really good living, but not to the point where it could have been, or what my potential, could have been maximized. So I took a huge leap of faith and left that job, and, with a mortgage, a kid, and here we go,
Yeah.
And just like Joe said, there isn't a manual for a new title rep. It's go out and get some business. And it's like, how the hell do you do that? And, coincidentally, a month after I started, I think I had my laptop for like a week, and then COVID happened, and the world shut down, and our entire way of doing, I didn't even know if I was gonna have a job, and it was terrifying. But, kind of just, put my head down and got on the phones and got on Instagram and just made it happen. I'm not lighting the world on fire yet, but I think I'm making some pretty good progress, and I fit in well with the team. And in terms of just I guess like an opener, like I could do a pretty good job at that. So
what's something you didn't expect with title because you're brand new that you're like, man?
Well, a lot of people don't really know what title is, right?
I don't even think, honestly, I don't even think 90% of real estate agents, really, I'm being serious. I don't think 90% of real estate agents even know what title insurance
Until
is.
they need it.
Until they need
then
it.
They figure
Yeah.
it out.
And so that,
Until they call you and they're like, yo, like,
what the hell is this
See,
lien?
I actually got away. My first ever listing ever, I had a title issue. First ever. I don't know, you know, if this. I had a young client, got them off Zillow, went to their house, somehow pulled it out of my butt, closed. Had no idea what I was talking about. And we went to like you guys run prelim, whatever, and like there's back child support on there. And I'm like, my client wasn't even alive with this child support.
Yeah.
And like we had to like waive it and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, so then like right out of the gate, I'm like, can I just get one under my belt? Can I just get one?
Well, I guess, I mean, to anybody listening here that doesn't know what title insurance, I'll do my best here, but title insurance basically insures against, you know, the past, whereas other insurances, you know, life insurance, you know, if you die, car insurance, health insurance, it all insures against future events, you know, future catastrophic events. Title insurance, you need it on, you know, any transaction here, you know, refi, resale, but it insures against the past. So it gives the buyer, it gives a seller, it gives a lender peace of mind knowing that nothing from the past is going to come up and rear its ugly head. Something like a lien, something like a child support lien. You know, somebody saying, no, that's grandma gave me that house. You know, so our company takes a look at it. We do our due diligence, and then we insure against it if something comes down. Did I do a good job?
But I have the biggest question that I need you to answer.
Shit, here we go.
Do you guys record in one day?
We do.
Oh,
we
wow,
do.
I didn't know that.
We do, yeah.
Even in the desert?
So yes,
Wow.
even in the desert.
Holy crap! I didn't know you could do that.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Okay,
yeah,
Adrian, clip that for him. Thank you.
Thanks, bro.
Right? No problem.
Yes. So yeah, when it's all said and done, yes, we issue the insurance policy. Money comes to us. And then we go ahead and record it with the county. And
you know what's funny is like you don't care about your title company until the title company like doesn't record on a Friday.
Or
you're
until
like, and you're like, dude, how did we not record today? Like I have moving boxes. Like my clients are literally sitting in a truck right now waiting. And they're
For
like,
a holiday weekend.
Why does all the deals seem like they close on Fridays? Like it always seems like every deal comes a Friday.
It's just the most urgent day because everybody's
It's
got
a Friday,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they want to be moved in before they go back to work on Monday.
Yep.
Friday on the last Friday of the month.
Oh, that's the worst.
Time.
I feel like every deal every time I have a deal, it's gonna land on that Friday at the end of the month. Escrow's freaking out, title's freaking out.
And there's so many moving parts. We can't do our job until we have money.
Yeah, and that lender all the time on that Friday is going to be an East Coast lender.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
always.
He's dipped out early. And that's the thing that people...
They're going to fund early.
Yeah.
Or we've already funded
funded.
you didn't really fund.
Yeah.
We get that on a daily.
We have no clue. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the thing that's so hard, and probably for you guys too, is like, literally in a transaction, especially for us because we're dealing with the emotion of the clients, we're dealing with the clients. It's like what they don't understand is they think we have so much control, and there's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
Like after on the sell side, it's like after the lender has funded, which now I have to wait for escrow.
Right.
Now I have for title. Like if it doesn't and if that guy even funded on time, he might not have.
Yeah, that's.
Or
And it's like I'm literally like I tell her, I'm like I'm just strapped into a roller coaster, and let's hope it's like I'm not at Six Flags.
Even when all those things go
Like roller
right,
coasters.
even when all those things go right, you got to make sure that by some miracle it did fund. Is it the right amount?
Yeah.
And-
I mean, or like we've had people send the money to the wrong spot. We've had escrow companies send the money to the wrong spot or the wrong title company, and then you're like, and then they're like, why are we not closing? It's like I don't.
Or we get through all of that, and then they've missed a signature,
yeah.
and then the docs get there, and then they can't go to the county, or they go to the county, and
They
then the
get kicked
county
back.
kicks it back.
Or one of the best is we get a statement of information day of closing, right? We get our closing package from escrow. Our office has to abstract, do all that good stuff, and then we get a statement of info, which is basically all the seller and the buyer's information, socials, all that. We run that, we find out there's a $80,000 federal tax lien.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we don't have a demand. We never knew about this. And then, sometimes, and it's rightfully so, the agents are concerned. They're like, well, how didn't you catch this earlier? And it's like, well, I mean, John Smith isn't the most, unique last name. So sorry, John Smith, there's about 1 trillion of them in the state. So the only way we can actually identify if that particular John Smith has, any kind of lien or judgment that's going to hinder our close is if we run their social. And unfortunately, in those certain circumstances, I mean, on day of close, that's the worst thing you could possibly do is get one of those and be held up on that.
And the worst is too, like when you take there's agents out there that are super pumped to get a listing, and then you go and you're like, hey Joe, run title on this property for me. Like all agents, if you're brand new, always run title before you list the property. Always know if there's a headache before you go into escrow, because they'll save your life on headaches, and it gives the team more time to fix it. But it's like, oh, we can't insure this property. You're like, I'm trying so hard to get listings. I can't insure it. Good job, Amy. Can't insure it.
I know.
So what
Dream
do you
killer.
think? Obviously, I think selling is selling, and it doesn't matter. Like if you guys could probably be real estate agents, you could be loan officers, you could be really whatever you wanted, because I think it's all the same. But what is something you think that kind of has helped you? One, stay in the game for a long time, because in real estate there's a big turnover that people don't realize, and two, it's really hard to get clients. So what is something you think you've done successfully that someone can learn from?
I don't know. You keep talking about sales. Like, I never really think of
you are
us
selling.
and
We're always
it's
selling.
like a relationship business.
You go on a
though.
date, you're selling yourself.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. Okay.
You ever read the book from Frederick from $1 Million Listing? What's it called? Like Always Selling?
Always
or something?
selling.
Always
Yeah.
selling something like that.
It just seems like such a relationship business.
That you're selling that person.
Yeah, and but you kind of like you go into like business with them. Your partners.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing. We don't consider our relationship with any of our clients to be a title rep and real estate agent.
Right.
We always consider ourselves to be business partners.
He's getting real close over here. I know he's getting
We're
real tight.
We're
He's
business
getting
partners.
Real tight over here.
I mean,
okay,
and that's the truth.
Let me read it through it. How have you been able to build so many relationships over the years?
It's just they turn into friendships.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's a level of trust there, and your good agents always see you as a business partner and not as a title rep, because if you're a title rep, then you're just the next guy dropping off coffee cups.
We're talking on like Sunday morning, like, you know what I mean?
Or even on the
You
weekends.
never text me back.
What did you say when you call? You're like, you always answer your phone,
I know you
Amy.
did say that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's true. It's great when people treat those way. It's like I always laugh when title reps try to come in here. Like I said, any title rep, if you walk in my office, you will never be worked with. But it's like, do you think I'm hardcore? Like,
and that's what I'm going up against. Just so
literally,
everybody knows.
like, because you know why? Because do you think I'm that cheap where you're gonna come in and drop off some pins and give me a water bottle and I'm gonna change my title that I've been working with someone for 6 years straight, that you're just gonna come in and get it from me that quickly? Come on. What, do you think I'm that cheap? Am I a hooker?
So hold on, Adam. You asked me something. You asked me something a little bit earlier.
Sorta,
you said,
bro.
Don't drop no water bottles off in my office. Continue.
You asked me. You said what's been the hardest part of my transition into this industry, and it is that. I mean, it's oftentimes artificial resistance, and it's based off of a comfort factor that folks have with their current providers. Right now, specifically with title, you don't know that you need or even have a good title rep till you need them. Right. And that is so hard for me to convey to folks when I'm just trying to break the ice and get to know them a little bit. I'm good at this shit, and give me a shot. So that's the hardest part so far.
Well, I think it goes back to like relationship building, is because it's like, I always look at this as an analogy I have, selling, is like if you're single and you're trying to get, I'll say girl, because I say that girl, you go to her friend. If her friend likes you and she puts in a good word for you, I have a way better chance of going direct. And I think that's the same thing in real estate in general. Like if you're a title rep and you have someone that's like, you're just you're all of us are waiting for that person to screw up, right?
Yep.
I mean, in all your hairstylist, you're waiting for that person not to call you back or screw up your hair before you go to someone else. Or someone doesn't call you back, or someone blows a deal, or something like that. You're like, I'm done. Like, it's just like in a relationship. Oh, you were texting that girl? Okay, let's see what I got out there.
Yeah,
but it's the truth. That's like that's how I think that's what people don't realize is like that's how you last in this game is you get people to shout you out. I do a decent job. Joe gets mad at me sometimes when I don't tag you guys or whatever. But it's the truth. Like it's like the moment you get that momentum of like people wanting to fight for you that become friends with you, then you're able to like
absolutely
get those other people.
Absolutely.
Don't be stealing my analogies, all right?
Referral business is huge in our business. I'm sure it's
everyone
in yours.
is.
I mean, in
you
ours,
can't keep up.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to cold call forever.
It's law of numbers, and when you lock up one agent, you do a great job. Your name goes around. They're like, yo, this person helped me in this situation. You know, they hear things around the office and whatnot. Before you know it, you're picking up a new agent.
That's what I said. You attract it. Like
you have to,
Mm-hmm.
You have to continue going above and beyond.
Yeah.
I'm also not afraid to ask for that referral either. You know, hey, if I do a really good job with you, like, hey, give me a shot with some of your friends. You know, I know you got friends in the industry, and you know, give me a shot. I'm just like you. I'm hungry as hell. Let's go.
Yeah. I have a question for you. How obviously in real estate, you know, what people don't realize is that like in realtors, it's more of a woman's base, but like in lending and I'd say title, probably more heavy men.
I wouldn't
or
say
50-50.
No, I would say it's more like I'd say it's more like 80-20.
Women or men?
80% women.
Oh, I always
In
felt
title
like
reps?
it was more men.
I always feel like it's more men.
Well,
Me too.
take our territory for example. You know, we only have there's maybe 3 other.
I'm talking about like management all the way.
I'm talking about like all through,
Yeah.
not just reps. I'm talking about like all through
the chain of command.
Everything. How is it?
I don't know.
How have you made that adjustment as a woman in kind of a man-dominated industry?
I was 17 when I joined the military. Turned 18 in boot camp.
Hey, listen, you know what? I know that I'm setting. It's
You better
called
be careful,
set up.
bro.
It's called setting you up for a question. I know the
It's
answer
just,
already.
like,
I'm setting you
so
up.
normal for me. I never ever think about it like that. It's just
I remember one time we
business.
went with one of our obnoxious.
Does she not know it's called setting
Yeah.
up?
I was like,
It's called set up. It's called you
hello?
put a ball on a tee. like, hey, do you record in one day? Yes, I know he does.
I feel like you guys like planned that.
I let
one
this
out.
slide because it's your first time. Continue, Joe.
No, I mean I remember we were sitting down with one of our obnoxious colleagues, and we were at.
Has it been someone that's been in this podcast room before?
Possibly. And I'm like, can you watch your language? We're in the presence of a lady here. And Amy's like, Joe, we're good. I've been through boot camp the whole night. I'm like, okay, in that case, everything's on the
Joe's
table,
like,
boys.
Yeah.
This is your fault?
Yeah.
This is your fault. We can only blame you.
No.
This is-
Yep,
Makes
absolutely.
sense. It
Absolutely.
makes sense. So do you guys do you guys ever feel like I hate when people ask me, whenever someone asks me, oh, do you just love real estate? And I always go like, yeah, you know, it gives me a good life. It gives me the freedom I want. I enjoy the process, but it's a bitch.
Yeah.
Like this job is very difficult because we all know when that phone rings, it's never really good news ever. So how do you guys handle the stress of the job? Because I think that's one thing that people truly underestimate, the stress.
Sure, there's cameras on.
The stress of that, like when that phone rings, it is someone who's on the verge of like, they're getting yelled out by their client,
Right.
or why are we not closing on time? And then you got 30 of those because you guys are producers. It's like, Joe, how do you handle that? Is it like check out? Like I have 2 phones. That's how I get out of it. 2 phones. When I need a break, I put that work phone away and I just need a second to like.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to say I jump on the Peloton just to free up my mind, but I don't.
Yeah.
But I find.
Joe made a donation to Peloton.
Yeah,
by the way.
$70 a month. It's beautiful.
Don't you love when you get the text? You're like, sweet, thanks for reminding me I haven't used it.
That's the most expensive couch I never sit on. So I mean,
because it's not comfortable.
no, not at all. So I mean, I guess I take refuge when I coach my kids baseball, softball, and football. So that's kind of when I can cut loose and just free my mind because I'm sitting there trying to educate little kids on playing the sport right and all that good stuff. So that's, I would guess, my only refuge. But you really can't turn this business off. Not if you're going to work at a high level, and it goes with you guys and all real estate agents. You guys are 7 days a week, and we work 7 days a week. So if an agent needs something on Saturday or Sunday, we'll either get it to them or we'll prep it up for Monday morning, depending on the request. But I mean, we can never turn it off. I go on vacation, and normally I send my wife and my kids and whoever's with us down to the water, and I stay up and I work for at least 2 or 3 hours. I try to vacation where the time difference is different, so that if it's 10, so if it's 10 o'clock there, it's still like 6 o'clock here. But I mean,
So you only go to Hawaii then?
I mean,
no, sorry, New York.
yeah, back east, Cancun's, 2 hours difference, so that gets me up a little earlier and all that good stuff. So we try to do that kind of thing. But honestly, in a nutshell, this business never turns off, and I can't let it turn off, because if I turn it off, then that's your reason. That's your out.
That's your reason.
That's
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you know
One
what?
day.
Yeah.
You're like- you're-
One time.
You're like, what? Joe's on vacation. Like, boom. Like,
Well, that's
he
the
can't
thing
answer
people
my
don't understand
question.
is I don't post when I'm on vacation, and me and you and Taylor do it. Like, we'll be on vacation and no one will know. And people are like, why do you do that? Because it's like, I don't want someone to think they can't call
Absolutely.
me because
Right.
I'm on vacation, and I don't want them to go to someone else.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
that's one deal which might lead to 5 other deals.
Right.
I just and I'm getting paid a lot of money, so I owe that to my clients.
Yeah.
It's like when I got jury duty one time, I got in a fight with the judge. No lie. I literally sat there and they're like, and I was like, I need to get out. And they're like, why? I'm like, I'm a real estate agent. I have tons of files right now. I have clients calling me. She's like, well, you can take those between breaks. I said, ma'am, you ever sold your house before? Yeah. I said, listen, I'm assuming you're rich. You have probably $1 million house. That's 25 grand in my pocket. Don't you want to get a hold of someone immediately when there's a problem? Not wait 3 hours?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, well, I think you can wait. So then something happened. They're like, who thinks the guy's guilty? I'm like, I do. And then I got released. They're like, Adam Schwartz, you can leave. Thank you. But that's the thing that people don't get is that it's like, but I will say there's something you didn't bring up that I don't even think you remember you've told me before.
What?
A break from that, how you get a break.
What's that?
Joe doesn't live in his where he
Right.
works, because what people don't realize is like you will run into people. I run into people all the time, and even if you're like tired or in a bad mood or whatever, you then have to hit that switch and turn
No
on.
makeup with
You're
sweatpants on.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're like, and so that's the thing. That's something you've told me.
Yeah.
That you're like, and the funny thing, you've told me that, and Brad Allwine's told me that. Brad Allwine's told me, he's like, you'll move one day. He's like, because you're gonna get tired of going to the grocery store or Chipotle or this and that, and you're just running into people and running into people and running into people.
100%. I mean, I love all my people and all my prospects, all
But
my
you just
clients.
also need a break.
Yeah, you do, and that's a great point. I have said that to you in the past, definitely. I do live outside my territory, but I'm like 20 minutes from it, really.
But it's like my buddies are like cops. They're like, I can't live in my district.
No,
it's part of the game. Like you got to get away from your clients.
That drive too. I mean, that's a great time for me because it just chills me out, gives me that, whether I'm going into appointments and going into meeting somebody for the first time, like I'm pumping myself up, making sure I'm prepared, so I sound, like I know what the hell I'm talking about when I'm meeting with somebody. But also coming back, you get a chance to just really be by yourself and kind of debrief
down and throw the
decompress.
music and you get going. You know what I mean?
and you think you're your own honest judge at that point. Did I do a good job? Would I have bought from me what I'm selling, right? And that level of being candid with yourself, I mean, that's huge. And
So is that your escape from the stress?
Because
home?
when I get home, there's 2 screaming kids when I get there, and to an extent that is my escape too. I like being a good dad and I like being there, but when the phone rings, like I think everybody in my house knows, like we got to answer.
We're sales problems. We complain when the phone rings too much, and then we complain when the phone never rings. We have issues.
We have issues.
You literally have to be mentally deranged.
That's what I tell Joe. I'm like, you have to be a sick individual to work in title.
Yes.
You have to be sick. You literally have to be like, okay, I want to go into something where people abuse me, say no to me, where I'm just striving to impress someone, and then like I'm complaining when I'm too busy and I'm complaining when I'm not busy enough.
Take it from where I came from, right? Like I was a sales professional, seasoned sales professional, selling to folks that, owned restaurants, owned hotels, casinos, things like that. I go from that industry to selling to sales folks.
Yeah.
And we're all sales folks. Nobody likes to be sold. We're either Joe and just say, yes, give it to me right away. Or it's like, run them through the process, run them through the ringer because, maybe I could use this as a coachable moment. Maybe I can hire this kid down the road. Mm-hmm. I have a kid coming to sell me solar right now. And I'm putting him through the ringer.
Dude, I appreciate other salespeople.
But I respect his hustle.
When the phone companies come to my house, or even the solar guys, and they're young cats, I'm like, dude, bro, you're in the wrong industry. Dude. But you have such drive and you've got such a pair of balls that I think you could do really well in a different industry. And I really respect those dudes. And even I'll let them give me their 15-minute spill. And then after the fact, I'll be like, you know what, dude, I really appreciate your hustle, but I'm just not interested right now. But thank you. Keep hustling. I know somebody in this neighborhood's going to
I never get door knockers.
Well, that's because you live in the middle of nowhere. You got to take a horse to get to your house.
So, I mean, what's your escape from the stress? Is it horses? Is it your dog? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm a critter keeper, horses and dogs. Mm-hmm. I live on property, and I get to come home and kind of just decompress and ride. And I always answer my phone when I'm riding, though. I'm pretty well known for that.
You guys are just like,
we got it.
No,
it's great. Like a
responsive.
sick, unhealthy habit.
Oh my God, yes.
Hey, you asked us a question, bro. We're giving you an
honest answer. I'm gonna call you on the hour of every hour, like she didn't pick up. Boom. She didn't pick up that time.
I do go to bed kind of early, but no, just horses.
I like going to bed early.
Me too.
I like getting up early because like that window from like 5:30 to like 8,
You can get so much done.
Not
It's
even
golden.
that, just like
Silence.
because like your clients are sleeping for the most part, but it's like I know there's chances I might be taking calls until 8. So for me, it's like that's my like quiet time where I don't want to wake up at 8:30 and that I go to my work phone. There's already 4 missed phone calls and like three or 4 or 5 texts, and now I'm like I feel like the moment I've woken up, I'm trying to catch up.
It's a rat race from that point on.
Like you
you're
never, like
reactive.
you can never gather your thoughts. Like you don't have that moment to just like, all right, I'm just gonna sit on the couch, drink some coffee, watch something on TV, play with the dogs.
You just triage it from the rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy business out there. One other thing that I do is I'll kind of work late just to check emails and all that good stuff so that I can set up my next day. And I know how early I need to get up. I'm like, okay, wow, I got a busy day tomorrow. I got to get up at like 4:30.
That's the one good
Clean
thing.
slated.
Tip I got from Decker the other day. He posted. He was like, at the end of the day, I'll go through all my text messages from that day to make sure I didn't miss anyone. And that's like I had never thought about that. And I started like going back like on Sunday, going back through the week and deleting agents like non-text messages that I don't need in my phone, because like dude, I'll like go through and like
miss something.
not miss it, but I'm like, holy crap, I have like all these like text messages from agents like, can I see this house? And I'm like, don't call me. You know? So I think that this industry, especially on the real estate side and your guys' side and lending and all of it, it's like this fake world of social media now. You have no idea if someone does 0 deals or does 50 deals. And the problem is, what people don't really say is that more people do 0 that you think do 50 than 50 do 0.
I'll tell you right now, your title rep knows if you do business.
That's what I was gonna say. So
Yeah.
the people in this industry, and I talked to someone else about this on the podcast last week, is that the people in the industry actually know who the good people are in the industry. So title, lenders, escrow, even the producers, people know. Like there's people that do deals that are terrible. That like I'm like, how does this person get deals? Like just like you and some title reps, you're like, how does anyone work with this person? So you guys obviously see the best and you obviously see the worst, and you see this. What is something that you see with the top producing agents you work with that's almost like a consistent thing that if you want to be a top producer, this is something you have to do?
Well, you said it there in the way you stage that question is they're consistent.
Yeah.
Right, you know, and it's consistent, it's clean, their branding's all clean, and it's not, I think it's something you said the other day, it's not just like, hey, this is a house, you know, it's something that brings value, and they're consistently doing it. I think that in a nutshell, to any newer agent that may be listening to this, is just be consistent in your marketing, be consistent in you know your farming and your whole approach to capture new business, because these leads, these brands, they don't grow overnight, and it takes time, and lean on folks like us to help you out.
Do you think branding is the new way? Like, agents that were doing it in the 90s before the internet, like they could just door knock their neighborhood, like the April and whatever team in the Wood Streets. They've been door knocking that neighborhood and mailing that neighborhood for 30 years, and they could dominate a neighborhood. Now with the internet, like, I mean, you're, as an agent, I feel like you're competing against agents from here to Orange County to everywhere. Do you feel like the market is shifting to more branding than farming? Joe, this would be a question for you.
Branding to farming, did you say?
Yeah, so like, are we shifting away from agents being able to dominate one neighborhood based on just door knocking and postcarding? Or do you think more agents are growing because of brand now, because of social media, because of online presence? Anyone, like, because right now, like, you could literally type in Riverside Realtor, who comes up, who has the best brand, who has the most, like, how many times you show up on Google. Like, that's my whole plan right now, is like, I want when someone types in Riverside Realtor, I want to be the number one on Google business page. I want to be the number one person up top. I want you to see my Instagram, my YouTube channel, I want everything. So do you feel like, if you're a brand new agent coming in and say you're a year in, should you be focusing more on building your brand or going the old school approach of like farming a neighborhood?
I think both, to be honest with you, because the more and more we're seeing independent brokerages light up, the less and less you're involved with one of the big brokerages matters, So, I mean, a lot of our agents are like yourself, going away from the big brokerage to your own private things. So I think your name recognition is more important almost than what your badge says, you know.
Yeah, who wears name tags anymore?
Not many, but you know, the point is I think the big brands are kind of a thing of the past. I'm a strong advocate on your traditional farming. Now, there's two ways you can go about that. There's either the small granulated focused approach, or there's, hey, I live in Crown Hill, so I want to basically dominate that entire area, where that takes extreme consistency. For a new agent, what I'd say that hitting around current business, and we always say it, hey, market around current business. People are seeing your signs for 30 days. If you're doing it right, they're getting a call, they're getting an email, they're getting a just listed coming soon postcard or something of the nature, and they're seeing you at close. So if you're playing it right and you're hitting a lot of different angles, I think that's probably the best route for every agent. But budgets always don't add up. So some new agents can't necessarily go out there and farm 5,000.
But that one gets me though, because when you're talking about doing it around business, there is business. You already got it. You got the business. There's a commission check coming already, as opposed to, you know, the other model of farming where it's like, I'm just going to pray to God that I'm going to send these out and get some business a year from now.
Well, I think what's hard too is just like, you have to realize, like, you're going to be broke. I mean, like, I'm literally still broke in my opinion, but like, I literally am just like, okay, what more else can we invest in the company? This, like Joe asked me before the podcast room, if someone came in here and stole all this stuff, like luckily I have insurance, but like this would be like $5,000-$6,000 gone that I've invested to do these podcasts that make me no money. And then so it's like, or marketing pieces or farming or all these things. It's like, you wonder why you don't grow is because you're not investing in, you'd rather buy the boat than like you rather buy your boat or your watch or a car, and then you're shocked like a year later where you're like, man, why is that guy doing more deals every single year and I'm not? It's like you're not reinvesting in you guys.
Well, these things do pay you back. You just probably haven't seen it.
Oh no, it's already happened.
It's your branding. This is Adam.
Yeah.
This goes into getting you on that top Google businesses page, right?
For sure. So you guys are one of the top title team around, and you work for a big company, which I think in the Inland Empire, you guys have you guys, and then you know, Anthony that's up here that do really, really well. How do you handle, you know, that a lot of people don't understand, the moment you get so big, you then have people trying to bring you down. So how do you guys handle that, trying to fight off other title reps?
Yeah, we're always enemy number one or target number one, and rightfully so, because when we got into the business and, you know, we weren't at, you know, number one in market share or anything like that, we would be chipping off at the top. Right. I mean, it's a constant battle. It's a daily battle. You get a lot of out-of-county title companies and reps that come in, and they're very creative outside Riverside County, extremely creative. They do things on a different level. So we compete with that every day. We even compete with our own colleagues out of, you know, certain counties and whatnot. But I mean, it's just a freak of the nature. I mean, I can reverse the question to you. I mean, people are always trying to take you out in 92508, right? I mean, it's why it's a lucrative area. Why
you guys just get off my back for one day? You know what I mean? No, I actually don't care about people trying to, you know, I'm the one doing this podcast. Stop asking me questions. I don't actually mind people trying to take my business, because that's understandable. I get annoyed when people try to copy my videos. Oh. That really pisses me off. Like, bro, listen, go do your own. Like, go think of your own idea. But I at least always know, like, they're not gonna, you know, do it more than one time. But I like that is like if I make a video and I see someone else make my same video or try to, I'm like, or I do a podcast and then a week later that person is on, like, someone hit that person up because they saw me on my podcast and they want to go, no, dude, I can't. Like it's like, bro, put yourself up. You know what I mean? Do your own thing. Stop trying to ride my coattails. So, what was it? And we're almost at an hour right now. But what was it about you two? Because something I struggle with this industry is, like, I would love to find a right hand. Like, luckily I have Brittany, who she's like kind of like we're kind of the same duo. Yeah. But like, a lot of people in this industry always go like, I can do this on my own. I don't need to team up with someone. Like, nah, man. Like, what was it made for you two to be like, you know what? Like, we're better off together than separate.
I mean, for me, it was an easy one because she had a different personality. I knew she was just as hungry as me. So partnering up with somebody like that was a great opportunity, I think, for both of us. And we kind of have this thing where if you can't beat them, join them.
Right.
And that's kind of what we did. And it wasn't about beating each other. It was about, dang, if we actually joined forces, we would be so much stronger, because Amy's got a personality that gravitates towards other agents. I've got a certain personality which gravitates to certain agents. So she'll go on a meeting or she'll prospect with somebody, and then all of a sudden she's like, Joe, I think this is a client you might want to steerhead, and vice versa. I'm like, Amy, I think you might have to take this one because, you know, it's not going to work, or we won't get the business if you don't take it. So Amy and I have been very successful at doing that. So, I mean, yeah. That's kind of what we did.
Right. I think we motivate each other, keep each other going, because I'll text Joe and I'm like, either I feel frustrated or I feel like we're stagnant. I think that's a word I use with Joe all the time. He's like, Amy, we're good. Like, we just kind of keep building, and we set some pretty lofty goals, and we're able to accomplish them. And it always blows my mind, because I don't follow numbers. I never know what we close or.
I know. I tell Amy at the end of the month, I'm like, hey,
I'm like, can I feed my horses, Joe?
I'm like, yeah, you're good. But I mean, it even goes to real estate agents that are feeling stagnant and that sort of thing. You know, what I told Amy the other day when she had mentioned that, I said, look, if you go to bed every night knowing that you did what you needed to do that day, you should rest easy. Mm-hmm. If you're starting to feel anxiety and you're like, I didn't get anything done today, that means you sat on your ass all day.
Yep.
Right? So if you feel that good, hey, I put it all out there. And that's kind of how I humble myself and go to sleep at night, or I could basically stay up all night long. You just got to know that you did the best you could. Yeah, you could do that.
Eat a couple gummies.
Or we could turn this into Joe Rogan. You could smoke a blunt. I mean, that's all it's
Listen, man. So how have you made the adjustment? Obviously, you've kind of gone into a team that's like been a well-oiled machine for a while. So how did you make the adjustment coming into a team where maybe you didn't know your spot, like they knew each other's position? How have you made that transition? Because there's probably a lot of people in real estate and all aspects that are like brand new. They should just go join a team, but like, how have you fit yourself, and how do you make adjustments for that?
Man, it was, again, a no-brainer. I mean, you got an opportunity to, you know, change your life essentially and provide a good living for my family. It's a no-brainer to latch on to, you know, folks that are proven in the industry. And you know, this business, and just by the nature of it, I think we talked to it earlier about how many no's we get. It's very self-isolating. So
it's a very dangerous job. I think that's why this job, literally, I have conversations with people. I'm like we always go like, how does this job like literally crush so many people, even successful people that you think are killing it, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
Yep.
They just spiral out of control.
Oh yeah, when you have that early success, I mean, that could either be a good or a bad thing. It could be a self-motivator, or you could be like, I've reached the top of the hill, I'm good, and I'll ride my laurels for the rest of the time. And I've seen a lot of agents over the last 5 years that were at the top of the game, the top of the pyramid, and they're
it's hard because
found.
No one says no to you, because like those people, everyone around you feeds off your business, so they're not going to be like, yo, you shouldn't probably be doing that. And then because it's like, if you say no to that person, do they cut you out? And then all of a sudden, like at the end of the day, like you gotta pay your kids. Like I told Nathan last week, I was like, listen, like we go on a listing appointment, we're boys, but I'll slit your throat for that deal. I don't even care. And I go, and I expect the same from you. Like we're not friends. The moment we walk in that door, it's game on.
Yeah, you gotta be competitive, 100%.
Yeah. So why don't we end this off on one? You know, most real estate people watch this channel. So what's one thing you can give, you know, mostly realtors? What's something of being someone behind the industry? I know you already said consistency, but what's like one thing that someone you work with does that you're like, if you do that, you'll get deals?
Yeah, the consistency is the huge one, obviously, right? But unfortunately, I wish I had an answer where it was like, if you do this, you're gonna get this, this, and this.
Well, but here's one thing that I can say.
Like, we'll take the heat off of you. Good.
Thanks, bro.
Like, you're solid on social media, right? That's a strong suit of yours, technology and all that good stuff. If you're an agent, let's say in Hemet, right, and nothing against that crowd at all,
I live there, so easy.
Right, or anywhere for that matter, or let's just take Hemet or the geographical area off. Follow your strong suit. If you're good on the phone, there's no reason why you should be door knocking. If you're not good at calling or texting, or that's uncomfortable for you, then get in the direct marketing game. If social media is your thing, do social media. So I think when agents gravitate towards their strengths, I think that's when they're going to be better off, in a nutshell, because too many agents try to do too much rather than focus on their strong suit. So we always tell agents, hey, if you're not a professional, let us refer you to this person. They'll handle that. You stop being the marketing genius. Let somebody else be the marketing genius. You focus on selling real estate, which is technically your job.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's hard too, and I try to tell people like you got to figure out what you want to do every single. Like if I had a cold call or door knock, I would never come to work because I hate that more than anything else in this world. So it's like, what can I do every single day? That's it. Like that's
quantify your time. That's the other thing. Is your time valuable or not? If it's not valuable, you'll find yourself doing unvaluable things that is not going to help your business grow at all.
Right.
So your time is tied to a dollar amount. So if your time's,
and it's so funny. You talk to people outside of, or you talk to people in the industry, and you say that to them. They're like, what are you worth an hour? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what did you make last year? Divide that by 40 hours a week, and what are you worth per hour? Then if that's not worth $100 to go do, then don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, as a coffee meeting with, I don't know, a landscaping company, worth your time? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Is mowing your lawn valuable your time during the week? Absolutely not. Because what are you not doing? You're not working.
Not prospecting, not
Is
working.
washing your car during the day like part of the deal? No, it doesn't bring you money. So if it doesn't bring you money, allocate that to somebody else.
Is it hard for you guys? Because I know it's hard for me that like you bring a lot of friendships, and then all of a sudden that agent, we see it all the time, like life changes, they get married or they have a kid or they whatever, and they back off a business. Like, is it hard for you to be like, I know we're friends, but it's like I only have so much time in the day to follow up with people. Like I have to follow up with people doing deals. No.
I think
like I feel like that way, like I'm the worst because like someone hits me up to do like buy a house, cool. I'm like, all right, get your stuff to Taylor, okay, you can't qualify. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna follow up with you once a week. Like you have a 400 credit score, you have no money in the bank, and you're never gonna buy a house anytime soon. Like I don't have the energy to be like, hey, just want to check in on you, and that's awful. And maybe that's a deal down the road, but it's like I'm still in the work of like I got to get paid in the next 30 to 60 days. It's like listing appointments now. I walk in, this is what your house is worth. Oh, I want to sell it for 100,000 more. Okay, well,
waste my time.
I'm not going to list the house.
Yeah.
I think being realistic to your client or prospect is great, but I think the follow-up game's also good. I mean, in our circumstance, if we turn down an agent that, not necessarily would be on our radar, but they hang with the cool crowd that's
the only reason you're here,
or a cool crowd. Or a good lucrative crowd that there's other opportunities there, and then we can help nurture this agent so that they're at that level. I mean, we never turn down an agent. There might be certain meetings that, let's say, Amy goes to that I don't go to, or that where both Amy and I need to be there, or all three of us need to be there. Mm-hmm. So we gauge every client accordingly, and we kind of stock them, although that kind of sounds freaky. We know everything about an agent before we go. Yep. So being an expert at who you're going to go meet with is get you one step closer to closing.
Because you change, we're in sales. You change, like, if I know someone, like when I walk to a stranger's house, like I'm like just looking around, like how can I connect with this person on another level other than
quickly
real estate?
too.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Like I always go to baseball. Like if I see anything about baseball, I'm like, oh, your kid plays baseball. Oh, this is what I did for 10 years. And then like, boom.
Find that connection.
I always find a connection outside of real estate.
Have to.
Yeah.
And some of those probing questions when you get into that initial meeting are huge too. Oh, what do you like to do? Oh, you got kids? Oh, yeah, me too. And then you break the ice.
I need kids, man. I need kids.
Dogs, dude. Everybody has a dog or a cat.
People love kids.
Oh, you love animals? Oh, I saw you were riding a dolphin in Cabo. That's so awesome. I've been wanting to do that, but I heard the water, you swim with dolphin shit. And then it's a laughing thing. So breaking down that barrier and being a human being is the game changer.
Can I re-answer my question?
Yeah, re-answer your question.
So you asked for the piece of advice. Joe just reminded me something. It's something I've chatted with him about recently. It's like so many agents on social media. They're
so fake.
It's so fake.
It's so annoying.
It's, number one, it's boring.
Yep.
Like a lot of the content they're putting out is just so like paint dry and boring. And number two, it's just like be a human. Like be a human. Like people want to do business with people that they are like-minded and can get along with and have some rapport with. Be a human. Like I don't care about, check out this house. What do you think? Nobody cares about that. And the majority of their audience doesn't care about that. Be a human. I want to get to know Adam. I want to get to know Joe, that type of thing. So that would be my bit of advice.
I think the issue that agents have is that, like, I always say, like, make valuable content, but I don't think they even know how to make valuable content. Right. They don't even know, they don't even know how to make a video that brings more value than, like, I'm showing a house, it matters who you work for. Like, I don't think they know, like, if you sat them in this room like, hey, let's make a valuable video today, I don't even think they would have a process of what to.
Well, I think they would overthink it. Oh, I didn't wear the right clothes, or I don't know what to say, or I don't like myself on camera, or
that's just an insecurity that I think people need to get
over.
above.
Yep.
But I think
no one cares.
I think all the agents making the effort and we've had this conversation with some of our top agents that are, that we've talked to, and we're like, why don't you do like a video or something? Oh, I hate the camera, this, that, and the other. But then gradually they're starting to make that move towards social media, and then like I said earlier,
you guys are.
If social media is not your thing, hire somebody to do it
for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or even that means you got to hire someone to be the person that is the poster boy of your company.
Yeah.
It's like, when we think about it, it's like you buy ShamWows back in the day. That guy didn't own any part of ShamWow. He just freaking sold it because he was good on camera and the CEO wasn't good on camera.
Right.
I just think it's funny in real estate. It's like, if other industries bragged about the stuff we brag about, like surgeons, like, I did that surgery in less than 3 hours. Every agent's like, I sold this house in 20 days. Like, if other industries brag, it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
You're like, I did 75 surgeries this week, and I only let 3 die.
Yeah, I'm like,
right? I have a great rate of return.
Well, that's the thing about social media. It's always the glamour. It's never like reality. But I mean, nonetheless, for our business in real estate, you got to have that presence. I mean, that is the way of the future. So you can't deny it. I think it's just, figure out the best way social media is good for you and go from there. And also another thing that any new agent can do is always latch on to an agent you want to be like. Like I said, top agents will mentor smaller agents that want to be that
leave
good.
the blueprint too.
They will, because you're not threatened by another small, like, I just came into the business agent, are you?
I'm not threatened by a big agent.
Right, you're not threatened, and you can't be threatened. So latch on to somebody that can mentor you, and I think that's good advice for any escrow salesperson, title person.
I think the biggest thing is you cannot come in this industry poor.
No.
You have to come into, and I don't care what part of this industry you do, you got to come in with some money. Because you'll not last long enough until you get
budget.
Checked. Yeah, you got to have money. Like, I had too many people. Like, I'll interview agents and they'll be like, I'll be like, how much money do you have saved up? And they're like, I don't have that much money saved up. Like, you're not gonna work here. And they're like, why? I'm like, you're gonna go 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Do no deals, and then you're gonna have to go get a real job, or you're working part time here to cover this money. Like, you got to go full force in this job.
So I've heard that that's kind of line of thinking with a lender partner that I work with, and back in his day when he just barely started, he's like, dude, I had to do appraisals, so I just whipped out my Amex, and for a straight year I put every appraisal on that Amex because I know that was an incentive, that was a value-added proposition to my borrowers, and that would make them come to me rather than go there. So for any new agent that doesn't have a budget, I would say don't quit your day job, do it part-time, but then sit down with somebody that can drop knowledge on you and create that blueprint, and then be right with yourself. So if you're gonna close a transaction, average closing is 10 grand, dude, factor in like $2,000 or $3,000 of that to reinvest in your business. What a lot of agents do is they get that $10,000 check and they go buy the Benz, and now it's on social media, and it's like,
do I drive a cargo van?
Where's that? You're like, where's that Benz? Got repoed. So always reinvest in yourself. You have to, and that even goes with title reps. We figure out, like we sit down with all guys from our company and whatnot. And what I notice is the guys that don't do that much business but want to reach that level, they're cheap. They don't invest in their business. They're always trying to go to the company to, let me expense this, let me expense that. It's like, dude, don't be cheap. Invest in your business. It may cost a couple $1,000s, but trust me, that's going to quadruple.
If you're doing this for the long run, it's going to double.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing this more than just a year, like, it's gonna pay off in the long run.
Absolutely, 100%.
So, well, boys,
girls.
Well, based on what you're talking, I think you're more manly than all of us. I'm nervous. I'm thinking I'm on this side of the table, and I didn't say anything offensive. So appreciate you guys coming in. I appreciate all the hard work you guys do. Especially, I know, like I said, I feel bad for you guys. I don't think you guys get the light that title reps should get, because you do have to deal with agents like us, and I hate dealing with agents, so I don't even want to know what you guys have to deal with. So I appreciate you guys coming in. Until next time, guys.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah. See y'all.